Hi Reddit, I'm Talia, 29F, and after years of grinding extra hours, pinching pennies, and saving every cent I could, I finally purchased my first home. A cozy, charming 3-bedroom house in a peaceful suburb just outside the city. It's not lavish, but it's mine. Mine through sheer determination. No loans from family, no cosigners, no windfalls, just hard work, which is probably why my family can't stand it. I've always been the dependable one, the one who never asked for handouts. My younger sister, Mia, 26F, has always been the golden child. Growing up, she got dance lessons while I sat on the sidelines. She was handed a car at 17. I scraped together payments for mine while working 2 jobs. That's just how it's been. My parents always put her comfort, dreams, and lifestyle above mine. I stopped fighting it long ago. I just focused on building my own path. So when I invited them to see my new house, one I bought entirely on my own, I naively hoped they'd be impressed. Instead, my dad walked into my living room, scowled, and asked, "Why didn't you get a larger place so Mia could stay with you?" I chuckled, assuming it was a joke. It wasn't. Things escalated. My mom suggested Mia could choose a room to redesign, as if the house was partly hers. Mia, acting like an entitled reality TV star, strutted through my home, mocking my color choices and sneering at my furniture. Confused, I asked what was happening. That's when my dad hit me with it. "You should hand this house over to your sister. She's planning a family soon. You're single, you don't need all this space." I froze, thought I'd misheard. I hadn't. I told him no way. This was my house, paid for with my savings. Mia's never held a steady job or contributed to the family. I thought that would settle it. Instead, my dad stepped closer and said icily, "If you don't support your sister, don't expect to be in my will." That's when I walked to my desk, pulled out a folder, and handed him a stack of legal papers. His face went pale as he skimmed through them. It was Mia's bankruptcy filing. After he read it, the room grew quiet. My mom snatched the folder from him, gasping, "Where did you get this?" I didn't waver. "It's public record. I found out 3 months ago when she tried to take out a loan in my name." That's right. Mia, their darling daughter, had attempted to secure a $15,000 loan using my identity. Thankfully, the lender flagged it and called me to verify. I froze my credit, contacted an attorney, and kept the proof. I didn't confront her then because I wanted calm. I just wanted to live my life. But when my dad demanded I surrender my home to someone who tried to steal from me, I was done. Mia flushed, then paled, then she erupted. "I only did it because I knew you'd never help me. You're loaded and arrogant, always showing off." My dad bellowed, "How dare you pry into your sister's private affairs? You've betrayed our family's trust." That's when I let out a sharp, bitter laugh, louder than I meant to. "She tried to rob me, and you're upset I defended myself." What followed was 2 hours of manipulation, guilt trips, and emotional coercion. My dad kept insisting that family stays united, while my mom sobbed that I was tearing us apart. Meanwhile, Mia lounged on my couch, texting someone with a smug grin. Then, as if she had the last word, she stood and said, "You won't last in this house anyway. You're not cut out for being on your own." That moment confirmed I'd made the right call. They didn't know I'd already changed the locks. They didn't know I'd placed the house in a private trust to protect it from family demands. And they didn't know that earlier that day, I'd removed them as my emergency contacts, replacing them with my best friend, and updated all my legal documents. 3 days after that heated confrontation in my living room, I got a message from my cousin Jenna. "Why's your dad telling everyone you tried to ruin Mia financially? He told the whole family at Grandma's that you faked documents to destroy her. What's going on?" That's when it sank in. They weren't just mad, they were waging a smear war. I wasn't shocked. That's how my parents work. If you don't obey, they don't debate, they defame. They play the victim, twist the narrative, and paint themselves as saints while you're the villain. Now they were telling the extended family I'd attacked Mia out of spite. I stayed silent at first. I ignored the texts, the crocodile tears, and the subtle threats. But when Jenna told me my dad had announced to our aunt that I was out of the family will, I decided to play my trump card. Because, you see, there is no will anymore. 6 months ago, after the loan fraud incident, I worked with an estate lawyer to create my own trust, ensuring none of my assets would ever go to my parents or sister. I also convinced my grandmother, the only reasonable family member, to review her own estate plans. She was stunned to discover my dad had tried to pressure her into signing over her house to Mia for her future family. So we fixed that too. Grandma revised her will. She quietly named me her sole medical power of attorney and financial executor. Not because I asked, but because I was the only one who never asked her for anything. When my dad found out, he stormed into her house, demanding answers. "What are you doing? You're giving everything to the ungrateful one. Mia has kids to plan for." Grandma stared him down and said, "Mia has bad credit, unpaid bills, and an entitlement issue. Talia has stability. I choose stability." Things exploded at my nephew's birthday party. I wasn't going to go, but Jenna urged me to show up for an hour. When I walked in, the room went quiet. Mia was there, arms folded, glaring like I'd stolen her crown. Then, in front of 30 people, my dad said, "Here's the daughter who thinks she's above her family." I smiled, a single, steady smile. Then I leaned in and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Funny, coming from the guy who tried to strong-arm his daughter into giving up her own home. Want me to show the texts where you threatened me? I've got them printed. Bound even." The room went silent. "Also," I continued, "tell everyone how Mia tried to open a loan in my name or how her wages were garnished last month." The murmurs started before I finished my drink. Mia shrieked, "You're destroying everything," and stormed out. My dad yelled, "You'll regret this." My mom dissolved into tears, muttering about family disgrace. But I didn't regret it, not for a moment. Because sometimes the truth doesn't just liberate you, it torches the whole toxic foundation behind you. A week after the party, the consequences hit hard. I got messages from distant relatives. "Is that true? I always wondered why Mia never worked." "Good for you, Talia. Someone had to say it." I ignored most of them. The people who stayed quiet while I was being emotionally cast aside didn't deserve my time now. But a few, like Jenna and Grandma, reached out with real care. They'd seen how I'd been treated for years. They weren't shocked, just glad I finally stood my ground. Then came the unexpected twist. It was early evening when I heard the knock. I looked through the peephole and felt my stomach lurch. My mom and dad stood on my porch, dressed a bit too sharply for a casual visit, the kind of sharp that screamed they wanted something. I opened the door halfway. Didn't invite them in. "Sweetheart," my mom said with a shaky smile, "can we come in?" Dad jumped in, voice tight. "We need to talk." "What's this about?" I asked, keeping my tone flat. They exchanged glances, then my dad sighed. "Things aren't going well. Your sister's lease fell apart and we co-signed for her. She defaulted. Again. She was already behind on rent. We didn't want to tell anyone." The landlord had given her a few extra days because of their co-signature, but once her bankruptcy surfaced, he evicted her. I waited. "We were hoping," my mom said cautiously, "just for a short time until we're stable again, maybe we could stay here. A few weeks max." I let the silence linger. This was the same man who stood in my home and told me to give it to Mia because she deserved it more. The same woman who suggested Mia could redecorate my house like I was just a tenant. And now they wanted to move into the house they said I didn't need because I was single. Suddenly, my single status wasn't an issue anymore. I had my answer ready. I didn't slam the door, I didn't yell, I didn't break down. Instead, I handed them a folder. Dad frowned, flipping it open. Mom leaned over, scanning the first page. It was a notarized legal notice prepared with my attorney. It detailed Mia's documented attempt to take out a loan in my name. Texts and voicemails from my dad threatening to disinherit me and pressuring me to give up my property. A statement from my estate lawyer confirming my home and assets were protected in a private trust. A clause stating that, due to ongoing emotional and financial manipulation, my parents and sister were barred from my property without written permission. "You're serious?" my dad asked, his face hardening. "After all we've done for you?" I let out a dry laugh. "What have you done for me, Dad? Besides favor Mia my whole life, call me greedy for building my own future, and try to take my home like I'm just a prop in her story." My mom tried the guilt angle. "We're your parents, Talia. Isn't this a bit extreme? We've made errors, sure, but cutting us off like this, that's harsh." I stepped outside, closing the door behind me to face them. "You called me dramatic when I asked for fairness. You called me selfish when I bought my house. You threatened me when I said no. Now you're broke and suddenly care about family?" That was the breaking point. They went quiet. Then my dad muttered the words that sealed their fate. "You've taken everything from us. You turned Grandma against us. You've ruined Mia's future." That's when I realized they'd never change. Even at their lowest, they weren't asking for forgiveness. They were chasing control. "I didn't take anything," I said, voice calm. "I just stopped giving." Then I turned, walked back inside, locked the door, and shut the blinds. For the first time in years, I felt a peace untainted by guilt. Epilogue: 6 months later, my house is still mine. Quiet, serene, bright. I started a garden in the backyard, something I never thought I'd have time for. I picked up painting again. I adopted a golden retriever named Soul who snuggles next to me on the couch while I read. My grandmother, she's doing great. We have dinner every Sunday, just us two. She's even started sending me memes, poorly cropped, full of typos, but I cherish everyone. Mia, last I heard, has bounced between 3 more apartments and burned more bridges. My parents. Still trying to convince relatives I've gone rogue. Let them talk. Because here's the truth. I spent years trying to be the perfect daughter. The dependable one, the supporter, the problem solver, and all it got me was used, dismissed, and blamed. So I chose something different. I chose freedom. Have you ever had to cut ties with family to protect your peace? Share your story in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real-life Reddit stories. And let me know, what country are you reading this from?